You've probably seen the leaks, but here's the real question. What's actually changing, and what's just noise? If you're trying to decide whether to upgrade or wait, stick with me. I'm breaking down everything we know so far in a way that actually makes sense and clears the confusion. Let's be clear from the start. These are leaks. Things can still shift, but this is the phase where designs are usually finalized. Apple typically locks things in around now and begins early production, which means what we're seeing is very close to reality. And we've seen this pattern before. A prototype from years ago surfaced months before launch, and it was almost identical to the final product. That's why even early leaks today tend to be surprisingly accurate, which makes this year's details even more interesting. So while nothing is ever 100% guaranteed, the current information around the iPhone 18 Pro and the Fold isn't random speculation. It's coming from multiple sources, and it paints a pretty clear picture of what's coming next. Now here's where it gets real. The design for both devices is reportedly locked in. That means what made it through and what didn't is already decided. And honestly, some of you might like it, but many won't. Starting with the iPhone 18 Pro, it's not a dramatic redesign. In fact, at first glance, it looks very familiar, but there were a few subtle tweaks that matter more than they seem, and one of them is something you might not even notice. The dynamic island is getting smaller, technically, but because it constantly adapts and shifts, most users probably won't feel a huge difference. Still, it's a step toward that full-screen future Apple's been aiming for. That full under-display system, not here yet. It's expected later, possibly with the anniversary model. So yes, the notch-like experience stays for now, even if it's slightly refined. Design-wise, it's almost identical to the current generation. Same structure, same feel, with a few exceptions. One of those is color. A new red or crimson tone could replace traditional darker options entirely. And if you were hoping for a portless or button-free design, that's not happening this time. Those ideas have been floating around for years, but they're still not making it into this release. Internally, though, things get more interesting. Standard upgrades are expected. Better chip, more RAM, improved storage, but there's one potential change that could completely shift how you use your phone. Apple might be working toward integrating satellite connectivity beyond emergencies, possibly aligning with systems like Starlink. That means real internet access, not just basic messaging, even when you're off the grid. Imagine losing signal, and instead of being stuck, you're still streaming, calling, or browsing at high speeds. It sounds wild, but it's being seriously considered. The challenge, balancing that with existing carrier relationships. If Apple can make it work, this could become one of the biggest selling points of the 18 Pro. But while that's evolving, there's something else entering the scene that changes everything. This is the year of the Fold, a completely new iPhone category. The design is set, and it's unlike anything Apple has released before. A book-style fold, dual cameras, and a form factor built around expansion. Apple tested multiple directions, including the flip design, but ultimately went with the fold approach. Why? Because it offers something truly different from the standard iPhone experience. This is the biggest shift since the iPhone X, but with that innovation comes a cost. There's no confirmed price yet, but based on current models, this could easily reach premium territory like never before. On the outside, expect a familiar interface with a smaller cutout, likely still featuring the dynamic island. Open it up, and you get a much larger display, creating a completely different interaction. So now the real question is simple. Does this feel like enough? A refined Pro model and a bold new Fold. Two very different paths, both aiming to define the next phase of the iPhone. Which one actually makes sense for you?